Welcome to the Competitor's Classroom. My name's Mackenzie, and I'm a competitor. For the first 22 years of my life, I competed on the softball field. Every day, I competed to be the best version of myself possible to make my team better. I still am competing to this day, but now my teammates don't wear uniforms. My teammates are the people in and all around my life. I believe to my core that we are all living this life to compete to be the best version of ourselves for the people on our team. And I think that we can all relate to that statement no matter what season of life that you're in. I also believe that we are all selling ourselves short, and we have so much potential inside of us that we don't know how to unlock. I don't know how to unlock what's inside of me, and I know that I'm selling myself short. So here I am, asking questions, learning with you guys, because we are all in this together. So let's learn what it means to compete for one another. I'm really excited because in today's podcast, I get to introduce to you guys our first guest, Karli. Welcome to the competitive classroom.
Thanks, Ken.
So I told Karli that I wanted to start our episode off before I introduce her at all with some real talk because we need to break the barrier between us and you guys and whoever's listening right now. So Karli, I want you to set the scene for what's going on right now. Tell them about my studio.
So, this is a high-class studio. We are sitting in Kenzie's car at the park. We already got some coffee, and we are watching people go by, actually. There are microphones hanging from the reverse mirror. What is that called? Rear view mirror.
Rear view mirror, yeah.
Reverse one. And, it's kind of hot in here, so...
She just took her jacket off. We didn't think that through. So anyways, we're both really... Excuse us. We refuse to start over. That's something we're making a commitment to. Anyways, we're both out of our comfort zones. We're just out here having good conversation, and I wanted Karli to be my first guest because when I speak to her, every time I speak to her, I feel that I leave our conversations a better person, and I want you guys to get a glimpse of that. So I want to tell you a little bit about Karli. I have known her my entire life. Since the day that I was born, our parents have been incredible friends, and she's always been in my life. In the last couple years, or the last year, she just graduated from physician's assistant school and is now a practicing PA. For those of you who don't know, that is an incredible accomplishment. She has worked so hard to get where she has been, and I want to also add that she is so much more than just her title as a PA. I love Karli. Yes, because she's awesome and went to school for a long time and worked her butt off, but because she has incredible perspective. She's traveled the world. She's been through life situations that have taught her so much, and I'm just really excited to pick her brain and have her on with us today. So yeah, that's Karli. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
No? Okay, so I told Karli I wanted to start one way first. Every time I have a pitching lesson or a training session, I like to ask my young athletes why they're here today. And then I want to know why, even deeper, why they're here all together. Like, I want them to tell me why they showed up in my pitching lane and why they're ready to give it their all in this next hour. So Karli, why are you in this high-class studio today?
I'm in this high-class studio because Kenzie made me. No, I'm kidding. I'm here because these are conversations that I wish I would have had when I was 15 years old, 10 years old. If I had girls who I looked up to that told me things that I didn't even know about myself. And I want to make myself better for the people on my team, the people on my team at work, the people on my team in my family and my friendships. I don't think that you can just sit around and not I don't know, not put these words out there, and they're hard conversations to have. So the fact that Kenzie and I have these conversations on a weekly basis, and now we get to record them is kind of cool and terrifying.
Terrifying, absolutely. But the one thing that I just got from that, and I want to quit talking like I'm talking into the microphone, because I wish you all could have just been in mine and Karli's like last hour together, because it would have been the best podcast ever. But what you said was you wish that you were 15, 16, like a younger kid learning these things. Like, do you not agree though that there's a lot of people that are, it's literally just struggle. When you're in the struggle, I don't care if you're that old, like what about when you're 50 and you're going through something, or even older than that? It's like when you're in that hard place, hearing those encouraging words to let you know that you're not alone is sometimes all you need to like pick you up and keep you going.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that you're right, it's not just 15 and 16. And even when we, who talk about these things all the time, when I'm struggling, it's a lot easier to tell myself that they aren't true. But when you have someone that's telling you things, when you're in your dark place, it's so hard to see the light. Mm-hmm. And it's not always, it always feels like the light is a lot further away than it actually is. And when you have someone reminding you that you can do it, you have the abilities, you have the skills to get through the mountains, it's like...
It's empowering, right?
Yeah, it is.
I want you to tell your story. We just talked, we're in Lakewood right now, so we're by Lake Erie, and we were just sitting down by the water talking about comfort zones, and talking about how, for one, we're going to talk a little bit about what Karli's comfort zones look like, maybe what mine look like, but what was, like, you're completely out of your comfort zone right now, right?
Yep.
Tell people
100%.
about your situation where you had a coworker of yours tell you literally about like the licensures that you have that you're like, bleep.
So I am currently working as a PA. Well, I'm attempting to work as a PA. I am brand new.
Giving your best effort.
I am brand new, so it is terrifying. And one of my biggest fears is being the person in charge. So as a PA, I am working closely with the doctors. Sometimes I don't even see my doctors, and I'm making the decisions on treatment. And specifically, I'm making decisions on treatment about burns and pain, and how we're fixing their pain. And that is scary to me. First of all, those are really intense drugs that we can use, and second of all, those are, like, burns can change your whole life. They can change your appearance, they can change the way that your body functions, and those are big decisions, and I am the decision maker, and that is terrifying. And I was having a little bit of a breakdown at work, and my coworker said, in super nonchalant, she wasn't even trying to motivate me, but she said, the state of Ohio licensed you. The state of Ohio, the Medical Board of Ohio believes in you. The United States of America gave you this license, you tested, and you passed. You have the abilities, you worked your butt off, and all these people know that you can do it, so I believe in you too. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. I guess I should probably believe in myself.
Yeah, and sometimes you need that reminder, because I don't know what you guys heard her just say. I heard her just say she's not perfect, she struggles, she's been overcoming things for a long time, and just to hear somebody say to you, like, I believe in you, sometimes that's all you need. And that's what I want this podcast to be, is for somebody to listen and be like, look, you're putting in the work. If you're not putting in the work, we talked about this, that's another story, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the confidence, like when we used to play sports together, when you'd step up on like the basketball court or whatever, like you needed to know that you put in the work on the backside. Because once you know that you've put in the work, it just adds to the confidence, right?
And you can motivate your teammates. You can't motivate your teammates while you're sitting on your butt, not doing the work in the off hours. Same with, my job. If I'm not studying in the off hours and I'm just going to work and winging it, that's not something I can be proud of. That's not something that can motivate my teammates on my working team. I need to be putting in the work in every aspect.
Right. And that's like the comfort zone speech that we had, because it's hard to motivate. You can't motivate somebody from your comfort zone. When you're sitting in, like we said, when you're sitting in your chair with your feet propped up, you can't look at somebody and say, you need to pick it up. You have to be the one going through the work, struggling and fighting through your own battles if you want to be able to like speak it to other people. And you see people every single day that are going through tremendous struggle.
Right.
And you have to be able to relate to that. What do you think in your life right now is one of your biggest struggles right now in the moment?
I think it would have to be making decisions. And these are big decisions. Like I said, prescribing people pain medication, trying to fix these people's burns that are sometimes so intense. I can't even imagine what kind of pain they're in. And I'm the one that says, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I'm very confident in this answer. And that confidence in, first of all, my knowledge that I worked my butt off to get this far, having the confidence to say, yes, this is exactly what I trained for. This is what I know is going to be best for you. And then having people ask me questions that are like hard questions, and having to give them an answer that they're going to trust because I'm their medical provider. They trust in what I have to say. And that responsibility is terrifying.
Yeah. It is, and at the same time, like, from every one of those decisions that you make, like, you just you learn from it, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we had this discussion earlier, I think I'm going to say that a lot in this time, but, like, it's almost like there's no wrong and there's no right, but in the medical field, it really feels like there's wrong and there's right, because somebody's life is on the line, right?
Right, exactly.
It's kind of scary.
That is terrifying. It
Right.
is so scary.
But to get out of your comfort zone and to push like that, like, you get stronger from it, like, every single day.
Yeah, and one of my goals has been, if I'm going to make these decisions, and these are big decisions, then every single day I need to be confident in my decisions and what I'm doing.
Didn't we talk about, you and I both, like, we will try 10 million outfits on before we go somewhere?
And I can never decide, do I want to eat at this place or do I want to eat there? Do I want to cook at home? Do I even want to go out and meet my friends or do I want to sit on the couch? I get so stressed out about it. I call my mom sometimes. And I'm 25 years old.
My hands in the air, I do too, yep.
So I have been making it a point, like, I know this is my weakness, and I know that being confident in my decisions is something I need to work on, so every day, I mean, it's so simple as, I'm going to wear this outfit because I like it, and I'm confident that it's going to be okay, and I'm going to go out and no one's going to say anything about it, because it doesn't matter. But that's small, tiny, tiny decisions. That doesn't weigh anything to someone's medical decision.
No, but remember what we said at the same time earlier, like, I am living right now to teach young girls that struggle is the same across the board. So, like, what you're experiencing right now and, like, your, like, indecisiveness, the struggle that you feel, like, the mountain that you're climbing is the same, but just in somebody else's different situation, right?
Right. Like, it's everybody that's listening here, you can think of one thing that makes you incredibly uncomfortable. Like, there's at least one thing that, maybe it's talking on the phone to people, also something that I'm uncomfortable about. Maybe it's talking to someone that you have a crush on. I mean, this is like high school stuff. So maybe that's something that makes you uncomfortable. Or some people getting out of their house makes them uncomfortable. But when you are doing these things that make you uncomfortable, every single person is doing something different. They're trying to reach their goal. So when you step into that uncomfortable zone, someone else is stepping there just in a different part of their life.
Right.
And that's how you grow. You have to step out of the comfort zone.
And I think what we do when we step out of the comfort zone is we step closer to who we're truly meant to be. So me and Karli talk a lot about like, self-acceptance and self-love, and, like, how we have struggled so hard through that throughout our lifetimes this far. And, like, now that we're both of us a little bit stepping out of our comfort zone, it's like when you do that, you start to figure out, like, who you truly are. And I believe that's what we are striving for every single day. Like, when we take that risk and you say you wear whatever you want, and even maybe in the back of your head you put the shoes on that you thought your friend would like, and then you wear the rest of your outfit but with the shoes that don't match. Like, you learn from that, you know? Like, you go out into the world when you make that fast decision and you're like, wait, this isn't me. And you start to become more aware of that. Like, I just think we can all, maybe making faster decisions just starts to improve our belief system in ourselves just a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think.
And when you're deciding like that, or when you're doing things, when you finally figure out, like, who you are and things start fitting into place, those decisions become so much easier.
So much easier.
Because you're like, yeah, I'm very confident in who I am. Or maybe I'm not, but I'm learning how to be. And this is one step in the right direction. That's with my decision making. I'm so terrible at it, but that is something that is uncomfortable for me. And that's what I'm doing because I know I can't grow unless I get past that. And then once I get past that, there will be inevitably something else that I need to work on.
Absolutely. We just said this. I am training for my marathon right now, and every time I go out for a run, I push myself to do it, and I get over it, and I feel incredible. And I sit in that for too long. So, like, for one, I think that we're all afraid to get over our first battle. And then once we do it, I think it's almost discouraging sometimes because we get over something, and then it's like, wait, this isn't it? There's more? Like, I have more work I have to do? And I think that that's what I want everybody to understand is it's not always over after one little thing. Like, it is a continuous battle through everything.
And you'll notice when you start trying to do self-improvement, even if it's just a tiny thing, like going for a 5-minute run, maybe that's something that you really want to work on. When you get there, or when you get close, you realize you make those dreams bigger. Mm-hmm. So 5-minute run, maybe you're like half walking, and then you realize, hey, I did that, so I want a 5-minute run at a 7-minute pace. Holy big goal, or not 5 minutes, sorry, 5 mile or mile run at a 7-minute pace. Big goals, and just got bigger because now you're pushing yourself and you're making those things happen and you're making changes that get you to your goals, but your goals get bigger. So you're still chasing them, but they're just growing with you.
I feel like we should both tell a story maybe about a time where like we wanted to do something, but then we sold ourselves short. Because a lot of times I think like when I listen to podcasts, I listen to people like preach, and I do this way too much, preach about the good stuff. But I also know that like when I've given up on myself, like it is the most suffocating feeling in the world. Like I can't breathe, and at times I didn't understand why, and I think it's just because like I literally didn't believe in myself enough to push past out of my comfort zone, and then I feel stuck, and I really love, like, not love, I think the word suffocating is, like, the best word to describe it. Like, for me, when I was, you know what, this happened to me, like, 4 weeks ago, a month ago. I went for a run, and I got back, and I was just feeling really down on myself, and I was trying to take it out on somebody else. And I can't even remember why. It was with Matt. Like, I was trying to take it out on him, and me, and you can help me understand this better because you're good. You're like my therapist. I was trying to take out, like, my almost, like, disgust in myself because I wasn't standing up for myself in that situation out on him. And then, I'm not even kidding, I went into my closet, and I laid on my floor, and I sobbed. And I felt like I was suffocating because I, like, didn't know, like, why am I feeling this way? And now I look back, and I'm like, oh, my God, I think it's because I wasn't believing in myself enough.
Yeah.
And I will say the only way that I was able to pick myself up is because I'm marrying an incredible man who came into the closet and picked me up off the floor and was like, you are incredible. Like, quit selling yourself short. Get up off the floor and go make things happen. Because I think that that's what we all need to do is to, like, stop feeling sorry for ourselves and to go make a change.
Yeah. And I guess I can't think of a story. I'm trying to think of, like, a story that I can tell you. And nothing is coming to mind, but what is coming to mind is recent also. I mean, everyone struggles. Even if you think that someone is, like, on top, you're like, wow, that person has their ish together. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They are struggling with something, I promise you. And it might not be something out in the open, but it's a real struggle to them. And I, back to work, because my life revolves around work right now, because I just started, so it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But I was having a bad day, as in, I kept getting answers wrong. Like, I wasn't seeing patients on my own, but I was going to see patients with my colleague, and I would, in my head, come up with this plan, and it would be completely different from their plan. And I went home, and that night I didn't do a workout. I didn't eat healthy. And I just had myself a little pity party about, I can't do this. There's no way I can do this. This is so much I have to learn. There are so many mountains that I have to climb to get where I want to go. And I honestly probably laid on my bed for 4 hours and went through social media because that was comfortable rather than trying to figure out where is all this coming from? How do I just sit and be, like, I'm a medical provider. How do I go home and just be lazy because I don't think I can do something? I'm just going to give up. And then next day is when I had that conversation with my colleague, and she was like, all these people believe in you. You need to believe in you. And it was me selling myself short, my abilities. I seriously studied for 2 years straight. I would come home from clinicals, work an 8 or 10 or 12-hour day, and I would study. I would take up a weekend. My Saturdays would start at 8 a.m., and I would do something with my friends at 6 p.m., but all day I studied. I did not do all of that to not have confidence in myself.
Right.
I did it. I pushed it. I pushed myself. I did the work, and now I just have to believe that I can.
And the other thing, too, and I just heard you say this, and I think that we all know this deep down, but, like, when you came home that night and you didn't work out and you did all these things, we call this our I hate me pity party. Like, who else was suffering through all of that? Because you probably weren't the only one. Remember, we think about, like, our team and our situations. So first, I'm going to say this first. What I am telling Karli right now is what I try to tell people sometimes, and then they immediately are like, you're trying to make me feel terrible. Like, no. What I'm telling Karli right now hopefully is going to make her a better medical provider, and then understand that she can, like, help more people. That's what this is all freaking about. We are all in this together, right?
Yeah, we are.
So you coming home,
So
what could have you done? Like, what could you have done instead of maybe having an I hate me pity party?
I could have, first of all, done a workout because I always feel better when I have a workout.
Mm-hmm.
So, and honestly, that makes me healthier. That makes me probably less likely to get infected and have an infection and be missing from work.
Or, like, crabby almost, right?
Yeah,
Like
oh my gosh,
people in
so
your
crabby.
life.
But yeah, I probably wasn't very nice to my boyfriend that night. I don't remember exactly, but the first thing that you said when you asked me this question, the first thing that came to mind, was the people that probably suffered from that too was my team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my team at work. Like, I probably, even after I had all those difficulties all day, I probably didn't have the best attitude.
Yeah.
And when I didn't bring the best attitude to the table, that affects the whole team, even if it's not directly. Like, nobody else was in a bad mood. I maybe didn't even show that I was upset with myself, but I wasn't working to my full potential. So that took away from my patients, my team at work, my team at home, and my family. I'm sure if somebody called me that night, I wasn't that responsive. I wasn't on my A game, which you don't always be on your A game. But when you do put in that perspective, and then if I would have been thinking, wow, I'm not just letting myself down, I'm letting these people down. They might have not even know it, and I don't even know it right now, but in this second right now, I'm currently thinking about it. So that's pretty crazy.
Well, and that's what I want to be able to get across to everybody is, like, the moments that we feel like we're letting ourselves down, you're actually not. Like, you're letting down, like, all of the people in your life who love and cherish you and who freaking need you. Like, they need your gifts. Like, the world needs Karli in such a beautiful and unique way. And when you're selling yourself short, that's taking away from the gifts that you can share with this world, right?
Yeah. And I do want to point out that anybody that does listen to this and is paying attention.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Mr. Sturgill.
I want you to know that you're probably like, yeah, okay, you guys are doing great. Like, you went to grad school, or Kenzie's running this awesome athletic group. Yeah, you guys are, like, way above it. I'm not anything like that. If you're having any of these thoughts, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. Mm-hmm. Every single person is on the same level. You are all leaders. You are all so powerful. You just have to use it. You have to believe it, and you have to put it out there. You have to be afraid, or not be afraid, I'm sorry. You have to do things that make you afraid.
Right. And be brave, right?
Always healthy things.
Yes, healthy.
Not unhealthy.
Because we all know what we're supposed to be doing, right? Like, deep down, you know that you're supposed to work out, and you know that you're supposed to put good food in your body. Like, that your body wants that.
Right.
We were built for survival. Like, we can handle so much more than we give ourselves credit for.
Yeah.
That's what running has taught me. Because after a super long, miserable run, like, I feel like I'm thriving, and it's because my body is like, hey sister, you can do this. But you sell yourself short so often, like you don't get to this point enough. And like I'm making it my goal to get to that point more often where I feel like I've overcome something, and so I can teach it to other people more.
Right.
So like the conversation I just had with you, like, okay, how are you selling yourself short? Who else could be benefiting? Like I just want that conversation to get out there more. And like if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking of a situation in your life where you're selling yourself short, for one, I challenge you to find a way to overcome it, because once you overcome it, then you can look at somebody else and say, well, what are you doing? Because as soon as you start to make yourself better, I'm able to look at Karli, an incredible friend of mine, and say, I think you could be doing better than you're doing right now. And say it from a place of true caring, because I truly want what's best for Karli, and I truly want what's best for, I mean, we're on the same team, right? We are all in this world together. Like, we should all be competing for one another.
Yeah, and encouraging. And that doesn't mean if you know someone can be better than they are, it doesn't mean jumping down their throat and, like, yelling at them. It's all about, like, empowerment. Empower them to be their best version, but also not like, feeding into their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Not like, oh yeah, it's really okay that you don't do that because you're struggling with this. No, you can do that even though you're struggling. This will help you, like, overcome that struggle.
And I really don't think that you can say that unless you're in the struggle yourself, because I think that it comes down to like trust and respect. And a lot of times we roll our eyes at people, like those coaches that we used to have that used to like scream down our throats to do something, but in the back of your mind you're like, I know you're not putting in the work. Like, I don't, how am I really supposed to respect? I always respected my coaches. My parents taught me that. But even like a leader, like we'll talk more about like somebody on your team, because I don't like the word coach necessarily. Someone on your team who's screaming at you and like trying to encourage you, but they're not putting in the work on themselves. I always think of line drills. Like, we used to be on the same team, Karli and I. So when I was running as hard as I could and I saw Karli was dogging it, hey, same thing over here. Like, I'm running my marathon and she just told me that she was slacking, even though I was slacking the other night too. I'm able to look at her and say, hey, I think you're selling yourself short. And I truly like love you and care about you and want our team, quotes, team, to be better. So I now can tell you to pick it up a little bit. And I think that that's where it comes from, is like setting the example by doing it yourself.
Yeah. And understanding that every single person is not perfect.
Yeah.
So even if Kenzie was doing, and I think Kenzie is doing an awesome job in everything in life. Like, she's just killing it. She's pushing herself. She's pushing other people. I see people comment on her Facebook stuff like, oh my gosh, you're encouraging me to do something, and that is huge. But Kenzie is also not perfect. So she might have a day where I'm like, hey, you are really struggling, and let me tell you that you can be better than this. And that is okay. Just like your bosses, people in your life that you put on this pedestal, they are human. They are not perfect.
Right.
And if we work together and not tear each other down, but lift each other up and encourage each other and empower each other and say, hey, I know you can do this. Like, let me help you, or let's do it together. I mean, can you imagine how great the world would be?
I know. That's what we're striving for, right? Just want to make the world a better place.
Same.
Did we say this already? Like, we said, like, we're not perfect, right? We're inhuman. Like, when people look at us sometimes, us or anybody, and say, oh, how is she so motivated? How does she keep it all together? Like, I low-key feel really guilty about that sometimes, because I'm like, no, guys, I don't have it all together. Like, it feels like I don't know what I'm doing at all any of the time. But, like, I think the difference between maybe the people who say you have so much motivation and then the person who you think has so much motivation is the action piece almost.
Yeah.
Like, Karli didn't know how to be a PA before she went to school, but she took the action and she went and asked questions and she learned and she went to school. And now what I was trying to get at before, though, is what is the one thing in your life that you're like afraid of / trying to get better at that makes you human? What's your one thing? Remember, I feel like you told me when we were sitting down by the water.
I mean, I think it's back to that like being decisive. Like it's
Okay.
back to that making decisions and confidence in those decisions. And that I think it really is right now because I'm just starting out this career and it is terrifying. Me and my friends in PA school, we talk about it pretty much daily, how scared we are that people are looking up to me. I am not on the pedestal, but I am in the spotlight. Like, help me, this is what I did to myself and I don't know how to fix it.
That's the all-powerful thing.
Yeah, and it is terrifying.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond all measure. Karli and I are living our lives right now to prove that quote true.
Yes.
Because it blows our minds all the time. Like Karli just said that she's afraid to be incredible because she is incredible. I can tell her that. We all are just so afraid of our power. And I think that that's like crazy. And I think that we're all just literally living trying to answer that question almost.
Yeah. And you are, whoever you are listening, powerful beyond measure. And you should never be afraid. And I'm saying that from someone who is afraid. Should never be afraid of letting that shine. Yeah.
Because we stay like cooped up in social media, in our comfort zone, right?
Yep.
We talked about this. So, okay, this is how I kind of want to end because I don't want to bore everybody forever listening to us babble. But I think that some things that, like, people always talk about comfort zones, but I never really understood what, I don't know, not what a comfort zone is, because everyone's like, oh, it's where I feel comfortable. Cool. But, like, really I'll also tell you some of my examples we talked about, and what are some of your examples of what does it look like when you know that you're sitting in your comfort zone and you're not growing, you're, like, making excuses for yourself? What does that look like?
I gave some examples of this before, but if you can just picture me coming home from work, you don't know where I live, but that's okay. And instead of going out for a run, I sit on the couch and put on Netflix because that's comfortable and running is terrifying. Or I'm like, oh, I'll work out, but I'll just go for a walk because I'm afraid to run because I know it'll hurt and I hate running. Mm-hmm. That is uncomfortable. Or at work when I decide to question my treatment plans and I walk into the room with my colleague and say, hey, I think that this is what I'm doing. That's my comfort zone because it is uncomfortable for me to say, hey, this is what I think is going on. This is what I want to do with the treatment and this is what I think is best for this patient. That is uncomfortable. My comfort zone is me scrolling through social media instead of getting my house clean because that takes work and that takes me moving things. And who likes to mop? Because mopping is awful, but I love clean floors. Yeah. But I'd rather scroll through social media for 2 hours than actually do things that make my life better or make my little tiny apartment cuter.
Yeah. And I told Karli too, like, other simple things, like if you catch yourself doing any of these, like you can be like, ooh, comfort zone. What else should I do? And don't even ask, like, well, what should I do? Like, you know what you should be doing.
Exactly.
Like, for me, it's my snooze button. Your girl loves to hit the snooze button. I love to set, like, 6 alarms and lay there. And I finally figured out it's because I am so comfortable and I just don't want to get up. I don't want to get up yet. I know I'm going to feel better once I get up. Like, it's a struggle. But once I'm up and moving, I feel great. Like, that 4:15 a.m. alarm this morning had the snooze button hit on it a couple times. But once I was up and I was doing my thing and I was training my girls, like, life was so good. So I said that. Eating standing up for me. And I do this so freaking often, guys. You don't understand. I ate, like, this is real talk right now. I ate, like, 6 little snack bars before I went to bed last night. I'm not even kidding. Like, they're the little tiny ones. They were, like, I don't know, like, not low-calorie ones, but whatever they were. I ate so many of them standing up. It's because I felt challenged because I was coming to do this with Karli today, and I actually was freaking out, and I was, like, trying to comfort myself. So that's real talk. When I eat standing up, like mindless social media, like we talked about, when I'm not engaging in conversation, when I'm not listening, when I'm just speaking over somebody because I am afraid of what they're going to say back to me, that is my comfort zone. Instead of sitting and saying what I need to say and then listening to that reaction and then like absorbing that reaction, you know?
And it really is when you if you don't know what your comfort zone is, and you're sitting doing something, and you're like, oh, I should really be doing this, you found your comfort zone, and it's time to step out.
And you found the power within. Like, people are like, the power within, comfort zone. These are all big, abstract things. They're not. Like, we tell ourselves all the time, I should be doing this. Because you know deep down inside what you should be doing.
Yeah. And your life, I promise you, will change completely when you stop not even making excuses. You can, in your head, you probably will make excuses like, oh, I don't need to work out today. I'll just do it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But when you stop making those excuses and you start stepping out of your comfort zone, your life will drastically change.
It is. It is the truth, and that's what me and Karli, this is why she was my #1 first guest on this show, because I think she gets it. And because she gets it, I am giving Karli right now one of my Compete wristbands. So if you guys don't know, my family and I started wearing these a year ago, because growing up, my family was really big, and my dad would always yell, and my mom too, just tell us to compete. If we were going somewhere, we had to give it our all, give it our best effort. And I think today Karli verbalized to us what it means to her to compete and to give it her all, not just for herself, but for her team of PAs and her team, as in her family, her boyfriend, the things in her life. So I think that I am going to give her one, but in my mind, Karli doesn't just get a reminder to compete. Like, Karli in my mind is a competitor, and I don't get to say this to a lot of people. I'm going to give Karli 2 bracelets. I've only ever done this to one other person, and I want you to have it because when you come across somebody who you think needs the reminder to compete, you can give them one, and so then it's like you're paying it forward, right? We can remind other people that we're all in this together. So I give most people my Compete bands because I feel that they need the reminder to compete. I don't know if Karli always needs it 24/7, because I think Karli truly knows that she is incredible, because I'm telling her this, but she knows deep down that she is. So I want to give her a second one. She can wear one herself, but now she is going to be actively searching for somebody who's going to need that reminder so she can be that light in somebody else's life. So.
I'm not crying for any of you that know me, but I might later.
But yeah, Karli, I think you're incredible, and I am so very happy that we have reconnected and rekindled this friendship that we've had our whole lifetime, and you just mean the world to me, and I hope that you go out and you compete for somebody else.
Oh, thanks, Ken.
You're so welcome. So anyways, guys, thanks for listening to the first interview podcast. Karli, thank you for being here today.
No problem.
Thank
I love
you.
your studio.
Oh, hey, thanks. Thank you for being you. I feel like I'm a better person because of this conversation, and I love you for it. So keep competing for one another, guys. We're going to keep competing for you.
Yes, we are.
All right, we're out. Bye.